Since the earliest days of movie making, the genre of the Lost World and its prehistoric denizens is one that always seems to die out, only to be rediscovered once again. From B-movies and cult films to modern blockbusters, we are the raiders of the lost genre.
Hey Dave!
Yeah!
Today is it. Today's the day. We're watching Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You're going to be in one of two camps, and we have to get this out of the way early.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm in the Kong camp. I feel like I know where you're going to land, but can you confirm or deny?
You know what? I am torn since childhood. I mean, this is something that I'm dealing with even as I watch these movies again. I'm like, man, it's like I've got King Kong all over this house. I love the original King Kong, but that's just it. I love the original King Kong. As much as I love some of the other versions, certain aspects of him and so on, I will watch any Godzilla movie, almost any Godzilla movie, any day of the week. Almost any Godzilla movie, any day of the week.
Yeah, so I think that's what separates us specifically, because here's the thing, everybody loves Godzilla, and when you think monster movie, you think Godzilla.
Right.
I have been a Kong fan since, now this is the first Kong I saw.
Was the 76
was the
version.
76 version. I was born in the 80s, so I saw this one because it was out on VHS. They played on TV or whatever. And blown away by Kong. And I had seen Godzilla before, but something about Kong interests me because...
Well, I think you're gonna like, I've already seen this once. Yeah, I've already seen it once. So I'm down for watching it a second time. I think you're going to enjoy how much Kong is in this for sure.
Yeah, I'll take any Kong whatsoever. Because like I said...
Have you seen Skull Island? Kong Skull Island? You haven't seen Kong Skull Island
No.
yet? Wow.
So that's the thing, full disclosure, I've been in the dark about a lot of this.
So you haven't seen,
stuff.
have you seen this one?
No.
King of the Monsters. Okay, so all right. You got some catching up to do.
Yeah, so what happened was after the first Godzilla, where Kick-Ass shows up and saves everybody he comes into contact with, I was like,
Yeah, okay.
So I'm not saying I'm not willing to go back and look.
The Kong Skull Island is totally kick-ass.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. You can't go wrong with a giant gorilla or a giant dinosaur. But
right. All right. Well, cool. You're not in a bad place to be. It could be better, but hopefully one way or the other, at least you're going to enjoy the amount of Kong that is in Godzilla versus Kong.
All right, let's hit it
Ready?
up.
All right, let's do this. All right, cool.
Takes a minute.
It's a slow build, Dave.
Up.
These things take time, Dave. It's called drama.
Logos don't need drama. Just tell me who made the goddamn movie. Let's move on. Movie on. Am I right?
See, it's a play on words. That's what makes it funny.
Announced in 2017 in anticipation of the expanding Monsterverse from Legendary Films, it was a long wait until late March of 2021 when this film finally arrived.
God damn, do I love King Kong.
Yeah, he's really cool in this.
I love any Kong. Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong.
Hong Kong?
Hong Kong.
Production setbacks and finally the COVID pandemic pushed a movie I had anticipated since childhood back about a year from its original release date.
Oh, she's deaf?
Correct.
All right.
This actually doesn't have King Kong in it. This is Coco. She's gotten really old and big.
Or I thought maybe it was like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids situation.
Having grown up with and grown to love giant monster movies, and knowing what a modern US effects budget might yield, especially after the previous 3 legendary Monsterverse flicks, I was excited to see this.
Kong's trying out for the Denver Broncos.
So I rushed to the theater opening day to get the full experience of Godzilla vs. Kong. We open with Old Man Kong, taller, gruffer, and pissed to be a captive on his own island. The Monarch organization has created a high-tech holding cage for the king of Skull Island to keep him out of the way of Alpha Titan Godzilla. But he does have friends in the form of a deaf-mute Iwi Island girl, who was orphaned and left in the charge of Monarch's Eileen Andrews, played by Rebecca Hall. Meanwhile, the king of the monsters is attacking Florida, and Monarch can't figure out why. Spoiler alert, it has something to do with the rich douchebag overachiever Walter Simmons, played by Damian Bashir, and what his company Apex is building.
So they couldn't afford to just get Antonio Banderas?
Godzilla destroys Apex's Florida factory. But conspiracy podcaster Bernie Hayes, Brian Tyree Henry, saw it all. And Madison Russell, Millie Bobby Brown, returning from Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
She's gonna use her psychic powers from Stranger Things.
No, but she is our only real major recurring character from the last movie. And she's going to use her psychic powers from Stranger Things.
She has to. She's dressing like Alanis Morissette in 2020. Something's up.
And her friend Julian team up with him to find the real answers.
You're too old to understand podcasts, Dad! You don't get it!
Godzilla's most recent attacks haven't just been random.
I'm of the same opinion.
It has a podcaster as a major character.
Here's how I know I'm gonna like this. Because it's contemporary and podcasts are for the youngs. Oh, he turned up his quality knob. I used that in my show.
Maybe we should use it for this show.
Do it.
Hollow Earth theorist and former Monarch scientist Dr. Nathan Lind, a notably less buff former Tarzan, Alexander Skarsgård.
Carl Denham University? Oh, that was a nice place. I didn't catch that before. That's awesome.
Gets a visit from Walter Simmons. He and Dr. Serizawa's obviously estranged son offer to help him prove the Stargate exists.
Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard.
Find the Hollow Earth using oodles of money-driven technology.
Titan show you the way.
Like how to make love? Like when an elephant makes love to a pig?
Simmons says he wants to use it to find the Titan's origins and power source to defend humanity against monsters like the suddenly aggressive Godzilla.
Oh, hold on. So much exposition, I gotta take a break.
Lind goes to Eileen on Skull Island in the hopes that Kong can help lead the way while finding him a new home down below.
So she even dresses like the native in her off hours?
Little girl is the last of the natives.
I know, but once you get around other people wearing shorts and t-shirts, wouldn't you be like, comfort is king?
Yeah.
She's like, no. Leather G-string, beads, the whole thing.
The only known entrance to the Hollow Earth, theoretically, is in Antarctica, a nod, again, to the Operation High Jump of the 1940s, referenced in 1957's The Land Unknown.
I don't want to waste my time watching a bunch of, monkeys fuck a football trying to catch Kong. Let's just
No
cut
pun
to it.
intended?
Yeah,
All right.
literally.
En route there, Godzilla decides to assert his Titan dominance and attack Kong.
We're nowhere near the area she flagged.
Oh, it looks like he's coming for us anyway.
He's not coming for us.
Him? Then dump him. Dump the monkey.
How about we throw you off instead, huh?
Yeah! How about we watch those two fight?
The two fight atop the naval fleet and below the ocean waves, nearly drowning Kong.
Flying Soothing
Boom.
Massage, no!
That's so cool. I like this little nod to Jaws here. Kong's smart. That's explosive. He knows that. Just throw it.
Yeah. Primates have the intelligent advantage.
Kong is a thinking animal.
He also loves electricity.
Oh, right hook. Chunks of aircraft carriers
Yeah, like the little
going by.
planes, this is...
Shut it down. Right now.
If we do that, we're dead.
No, we're playing dead.
Do you have any depth charges that will affect only one giant line?
I was thinking the same thing.
Do you have any giant earplugs? We'll send those down first.
Round one to the big G.
Kaboom.
Madison and crew sneak into the ruins of Apex and discover monster skullcrawler eggs amid the secret technology being sent to China.
I mean, look at this shit. It's the future.
The future. Holy shit, we transported into Tron.
Yeah, I was about. Oh God, I was about to say.
Their curiosity gets them in too deep, and they are whisked away with the shipment, finding the conspiracy's answer. Simmons is using his own robotics and the skull of King Ghidorah to create Mechagodzilla and return man to the role of dominant apex predator of the Earth by killing the remaining Titans.
Oh, he's evil.
Yep, you can tell. Pinky extended, drinking a drink while watching bad things happen.
If you drink a dark liquor in a short glass with ice, you're evil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I'm evil. I didn't know. So thanks for telling me that.
Oh, and you have got a goatee too, so yeah, you're definitely evil.
Wow.
Sorry.
He just needs the power source of the Hollow Earth, theoretically, to juice his creation, which Serizawa pilots via a remote uplink.
And I will be, how you say, oh yes, ruler of the world.
Yeah, where is Antonio Banderas? Was he busy?
After airlifting Kong the rest of his journey, Lind and the Kong gang follow the ape into the Hollow Earth thanks to the Apex anti-gravity craft.
Oh my God, just for fun and just for a minute, think of how much money it would cost to build that tunnel.
Right?
$17 billion a square foot.
When all you need is a hole.
Yeah.
There we discover a lost world where monsters reign supreme, though there's no sign of either king's family.
Yeah, the trippy colors, it's all vaporwave. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not complaining.
No, it's pretty
I
as hell.
love it.
Yeah, and I love this Hollow Earth shit. This is so gorgeously designed.
This is what the Land Unknown wanted.
Yeah.
Kong instead finds a throne and a colossal axe,
Oh shit, they made it to Muria.
made by his ancestors from a Titanus Gojira spine and powered by the energy of the Hollow Earth. Apex uploads the energy source to China and Mechagodzilla rises.
Just to be a dick.
Overage.
Just to be a dick. You didn't need to do that. This is coming home slamming the door 2 knocks and shit off the wall before you start the fight.
Between these events, Godzilla feels threatened on 2 fronts, so he digs a hole from China to the Hollow Earth fortress, and Kong emerges, axe in hand.
We shouldn't rush this. We have no idea how this energy source will affect the mecha. Get in the goddamn chair.
I am, how you say, oh yes, a mass murderer. Ow.
I was expendable!
I didn't see him wearing a red shirt, but yeah, I guess so.
Oh no, it's the Dark Crystal!
Please make peace. Oh, it is on. It's on like Donkey Kong.
You know, say what you will about Chinese craftsmanship, but I would not expect any building to put up with even a slight bump from a giant monster.
Right.
These things are... That's
Yeah,
legit.
he's parkouring off
Yeah.
of him.
Oh. Brutal.
Round 2 initially goes to the giant ape, but Godzilla is still the stronger Titan, and after a punishing battle in Hong Kong, King Kong goes down, his heart failing.
Round 2.5 goes to Zilla.
But Mechagodzilla emerges,
Beautiful, amazing thing.
And now that we downloaded that awesome battery, somehow...
Instantly, from an unknown element at the core of the earth.
and the partially alien technology fries Serizawa and goes on its own rampage.
Should have done a beta test!
killing Simmons and unilaterally attacking China by trashing the buildings with Godzilla's face.
Ooh, face, meat, building. Oh, and another building. Here's a building. There's a building right here, too. Oh, and here's one.
Woof. Oh.
You have to warn Monarch.
If I can figure out the password, maybe we can shut it down.
Go to settings. Go to preferences. Do a factory reset. We're hacking.
Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in?
Team Kong uses Apex tech to revive the ape, and he and Godzilla team up long enough to battle Mechagodzilla until Madison's friends cut the power.
All right, buddy, it's time to leave. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
It's only a flesh wound.
Come back, I'll bite your legs off.
Mechagodzilla destroyed, the battered Titans go their separate ways,
Right, equivalent draw.
with Kong returning to his happy new world as a king of the Hollow Earth.
Back to business as usual on Skull Island.
It seems odd in a way that the film is titled with Godzilla's name first. He's purely a roving semi-antagonist in this film, which focuses on Kong and the human motivations. But as most of the sneeze and you'll miss it exposition happens before the first showdown, the human characters mostly get dragged along to serve the plot of why the monsters fight. This might seem obvious, it's a Godzilla movie.
It would have been like a good joke to have some like really big ass banana trees. Or like any type of big fruit tree, because what's he eating?
But it's a bit unfortunate considering the character roster Legendary had built up in the previous movies, just to have them either dropped or only somewhat useful in this entry. The standout characters are the gals, mostly, with Millie Bobby Brown's returning Madison Russell a genuine beacon. She's the only real character from previous films to get a major role, and feels like a young go-get-em Carrie Fisher. Most everyone else gets lost in the exposition.
My little girl in there? No? Okay, bye.
That's what every giant monster movie needs.
Yep.
Even Bashir as the I'm not really Ricardo Montalban, most interesting villain in the world, is quickly reduced to simply being a reason that there's a Mechagodzilla to show up. The continuity of the monsters is glossed over as well, leaving out Rodan and most of the others. All that matters is that Godzilla and Kong exist, so let them fight. It feels like a lot went into the story production and motivation for the kaiju battles, only to have the show-don't-tell structure of storytelling whittle the screen time and exposition down to its most basic.
I think it'd be funny if like in the director's cut nothing changes except for like up in the corner, it's just a countdown to fight.
The marketing became hashtag Team Kong and hashtag Team Godzilla, making the idea of why the monsters are fighting a bit moot. The Titans, like the human characters, do things and then change direction just to move the convenience along. Which is expected. It's an American blockbuster with a budget that simply wows. Especially on the big screen. The Hollow Earth designs and ideas are especially cool, and really help the audience not only get a sense of weird wonder for a new visual, but also attach to Kong as the true protagonist.
They came like babies from a home across the... Why not Spinal Tap?
When the fight moves to downtown Hong Kong, the color and destruction switch gears to a technical beauty, with Mechagodzilla's new design fun and the whole aesthetic reminiscent of Pacific Rim. The fights are exciting, fun, and cool, with some callbacks to previous franchise films. The film ends abruptly. Once the fighting is over, an American movie is done. Though it's mostly satisfying, I for one would have loved to see additional material and character closure. Could more have been made of this flick? Probably. Strangely, I think the story strengths of the series are all in the previous films. But Godzilla vs. Kong still works, mostly of course, due to its production design and the rock'em sock'em quality of the fights. I look forward to watching it again, and kind of hope it's not the last in the series.
I feel like I had the idea in my head to write down bullet points of things to discuss, and I still haven't done it, and I feel like I should.
I don't even think this movie needs bullet points. It's such a... Like, the structure is so simple. It practically writes itself, but then that's not a bad thing. It was nice to be just swept along for the ride.
Cool.
you know, whatever. I've said this before about giant monster movies. The human characters are the make or break.
Right.
And if they are not going to break it, ironically, they need to be shown at a breakneck speed and get them off the set.
Yes, I got to see this on the big screen once on opening day because I couldn't contain myself, and I'm still torn as to which movie I like better, only because Godzilla is much more of a character in King of the Monsters. This one, Kong, is obviously the protagonist.
Right. This is a Kong movie.
Yeah.
And they say, you know, whatever, it's versus, but it feels very much a Kong movie.
Yeah, yeah, but it's worth it. They make Kong such. I mean, Kong's. You still need to see Kong Skull Island, and his characterization in that is good. But they've doubled up on this.
Yeah, I think that's the part I liked about it the most, is he was actually a character, and even though Godzilla wasn't in it a whole lot, you could still tell, like,
he just walks in, steals the show.
Yeah. So I wasn't upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, like, that's the thing. It was completely viable. Like, nobody was over or under explaining anything. All the shortcuts used visually worked perfectly because I immediately knew what was going on. And that's all you need.
Yeah.
Now that's all. Let's talk about the fucking monster fights, because that's the important part.
It's out to sea, and it's Kong versus Godzilla. Go.
It's so economical, and like that's what I really appreciate about it. Is like, you know, I'm sure some fan will make a super cut of this movie, and by super cut I mean just remove all the humans. Like, leave in the intro, because that is so expositive without doing hardly anything. Even if you're walking into this as a first timer, like,
yeah, you walked in cold. You walked in pretty cold.
Even beyond that, I think if you don't know who King Kong or Godzilla are as characters, if you walk in, that intro is perfect.
Yeah.
It tells you without telling you, like, hey, Kong, where his power comes from, where he is from, like, locally in the hood, and then you get the whole swap with the Godzilla thing where it's like, okay, here's Godzilla's same situation, sort of, a little augmented with the nuclear power, and yada yada, and you're like, 70, 80 years of history, and I'm all caught up in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Cool. I love Kong's expressions in this, not just in that scene, but
yeah, his whole repertoire of like facial expressions, like, he tells a story without telling a story.
He really does. Yeah, I remember in the theater there was that moment where I think it was when he wakes up in Antarctica, you know, after they drop him off, and he kind of looks around and was like, what is this shit? And there was a nice little laugh from the audience, because they just, there was no dialogue, no nothing. It was just Kong's expression, and everybody got it.
He's an incredible character.
Yeah.
And it's simply told through facial expressions, but not only that, like, he could be just a giant, angry, aimless monster, like a wrecking machine. But he's not.
Yeah.
In every situation, you see him stop and think through, at least partially.
Well, that harkens back even to Willis O'Brien's version of it, and what Harryhausen learned from him. It's like, you gotta treat them as characters. You've got to make them interesting.
Yeah.
You know, even if they are mindless beasts that destroy things, you have to make them interesting.
Yeah, and I think they did that.
Yeah, but we've established in the previous movies that Godzilla has his own logic as a character, his own things that he homes in on, his own, you know, level of intelligence. There's part of the reason that I want to get to this film eventually in our series is because it's established that there's also been an empire of humanity at some point having something to do with the Hollow Earth that worshipped Godzilla as a creature, and that they worked in harmony, that they were a harmonious relationship, that not only are the Titans part of the Earth and therefore part of our ecosystem, but also there was a harmony between the two species, between the Gojira species and
I
the
picked up
species.
on that because they were putting it down pretty heavy in the movie. Obviously not for Godzilla, because he's not in this a huge amount.
Right, and the Hollow Earth stuff in this one is we finally get to see Hollow Earth and see that this was at one point Kong's empire. Yeah.
The second it all clicked into place for me, where I was like, aha, so there was an alliance. It wasn't even all the statues and stuff. When you see a perfectly cut hole in the rock for King Kong's axe,
right.
He didn't do that.
No.
And who do you think taught him how to make the axe? Like, imagine being that group of people, like, trying to get an example put together that's big enough for Kong to see and also teach him how to do it.
Good visual storytelling, too, using Kong.
Yeah.
You know, those moments where he, like, looks at the axe, looks at the power source, follows things to their logical conclusion.
Yeah, it was very, it left out all the parts that we didn't need, but we needed to see Kong look at something and draw the connection.
It's interesting to have this conversation with you going into it cold and not even having seen pretty much any of the other legendary films. Partly because I felt like a lot of my confusion the first time watching it was, well, how does, you know, Godzilla's reactions in this match with what we've seen up to this point and so on and so forth. I don't think it mattered. It doesn't matter. Godzilla's pissed, and we need an excuse for them to fight. So how he's acted before is completely compounded by the events of this film, including the big reveal.
Right.
You know, the building of Mechagodzilla, which is why Godzilla's pissed in the first place.
Do you know what this is? And it'll make a lot of people angry. Batman v Superman, the good edition.
Right.
Because Godzilla and King Kong can be looked at as heroes if you want. So that's your Superman. But who's the real villain of that film? I don't know. I don't remember. Batman v Superman sucked. But in this one, it's Mechagodzilla who's the actual threat.
Right.
Everybody gets what they want. Like, Godzilla's pissed. He's still down deep the character you want him to be.
Yeah.
So is Kong. But who gives a shit about Mechagodzilla? He's from a corporation.
Right.
He's a soulless robot whose LEDs can change from blue to red depending on his emotion.
Would have been interesting to see like corporate stickers all over him.
Just like
his sponsorships.
Mountain Dew, and
Right.
he's like, oh, free the beast or whatever.
As soon as he's done trashing all the other Titans, he's going to take up the NASCAR racing.
Yeah, so upon that subject of suspension of disbelief, it broke for me hard twice. So when we get to the center of the earth and we do the whole, like, here's the power, he charges the axe with the blah 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 and all the energy, they downloaded an upgrade to Mechagodzilla.
Yep, real quick.
Yeah.
Other than the moment, the fan-pleasing or the crowd-pleasing moment of killing the daughter of Simmons, other than that, there was no reason why you couldn't take a core sample instead and just use that to power, take it up to China
It was so
and use it to power Mechagodzilla.
It's like kind of a plot device, but
Yeah.
it keeps them where they are because they're downloading this thing.
Yeah. I mean, I get it in terms of like
through the telling of storytelling, just be like, they sent down 3 ships. Here's the thing: to take care of this plot hole, add a 4th ship. Be like, take 3 chunks of it. 2 ships destroyed.
Yeah,
What makes it?
right.
Scientist. Here's the blue thing. Clink.
Yep.
Now it's taking
Right.
over.
Yep.
Instead of being like, I'm downloading the Element app from the Earth's core. Oh no!
It's nice to finally start making science fiction and fantasy weird again.
Right.
It doesn't have to be weird just because you're in the microverse in Ant-Man or something like that. You can do weird things.
Well, it felt weird based off of reality.
Right, and I like that there's this idea of like the gravity can't figure out what it's doing in the hollow earth, so you have these beautiful rocks and weird things floating, and the power source is maybe holding them up and maybe not.
Yeah,
you don't
it all
know.
felt if not believable, at least plausible.
Right.
Mechagodzilla's tail is in Kong's space. He's ready to pluck his eye out. And the thing that saves him isn't Godzilla, it's the kid who takes the booze and pours it in the thing.
Right.
And does it a completely illogical thing.
Right. Now, but I will say this. At least it was one of the things that we complain about or look for in films, which is setup and payoff.
Yes.
So we did have setup of this guy having this holster full of booze.
Yeah, it was the one thing that was through the movie, so I appreciated that. My thing is...
But I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. We're pouring the booze on the computer, and that's what saves the day.
I'm not even going to complain about that part.
Oh, okay.
That's not even... It was incredibly lazy. And like the, haha, drink, glug, I get that. We are already there.
All right.
Because water and electronics don't screw it up a little bit for a little while. It should have cut the link to the skull, and he goes down.
Yeah.
He still had the will to fight. He still had his sentience.
Yeah.
So don't give me like, aha,
That's
I'm
a good
going to
point.
hack and blah, blah, blah. That should have shut his ass down.
Yeah. Again, which takes it back to me agreeing with you in terms of it being kind of a lazy plot device in the first place. It would have been more interesting and in line with some previous Godzilla films to have just use the skull as part of the building blocks for Mechagodzilla itself.
Yeah.
So it basically would have been
Or-
Ghidorah's skull inside of Mechagodzilla.
And I think they did that once, right? They've
done it before.
They built
Yeah.
something out of somebody's bones. Okay, so most of our movies are like this. It's something we need to pull apart, and if it's bad, it's like wet toilet paper with like spiders and nails and stuff in it. This is kind of just like a roll of cotton where you're pulling it apart, and it's like getting everywhere, and it's kind of a pain in the ass because you're pulling it apart. But it's soft. It's fun. You can lie down on it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And every fight, there's nothing I really complain about. Even the end, it's like I kind of wanted to see the moment at the end where both, where Kong would be chopping away and Godzilla hitting him with his ray at the same time.
Yeah.
That would have been cool, but I'm not saying I need to see a director's cut of this, but I'd love to see some of the deleted scenes because it definitely felt like it was chopped back to 2 hours just to make sure that it was at 2 hours and nobody could bitch about it going over 2 hours.
But that's the thing. It felt tight. Like
It's very
does not
tight.
Feel like a long movie.
It's very tight.
And so it could.
As somebody who's both Team Kong and Team Godzilla, and just to use the marketing campaign for this film, I gotta tell you, I'm happy. Like, I love the way everybody was played. I love the way the fights turned out. I loved the play on the idea of how powerful, for different reasons, Godzilla is and Kong is, and where things ended up. And I think it's a perfect way to leave it either closed or open for a sequel by having King Kong, the king of the Hollow Earth, Godzilla still back on the surface, making sure that that things are defended up there.
They all have their own. That's the thing. I think that's
To duke it out.
It's a clash of ideologies.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're right.
You said you really loved the sound design.
Yes, I thought that was maybe one of the best parts. It's hard to say because visually it is stunning.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it takes the best of a lot of monster movies, Pacific Rim included.
yeah.
And-
And Tron and
Yeah.
all of these old and new, like Blade Runner, all the influences
Yeah.
were there. But that's one thing that gets skimped on. But
Yeah.
everything was so spot on. The metal, the visceral feel of the hitting, like
Yeah.
everything was just like. But like I said, there's almost nothing to pick at here because it's so lean and so fast. By the time you think, what just happened?
Yeah.
You've had a great time and it's over.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of it, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I hope it's not the swan song, but if it is, what a ride.
Yeah, if it is, it's the best way to go out.
Yeah. We're recording.
All right, let me see if I can find my character. I'm a guy sitting on the couch. Got it.